Today, I will discuss some questions related to Bangladesh, like, why Bangladesh is so important to China. Is Bangladesh eventually turning towards China rather than India, and what will be consequences for India? Or, will Bangladesh go into China's sphere of influence very soon, like Pakistan? These questions are very relevant with regard to the present case scenario between India, Bangladesh and China. Today, China is the greatest threat to world peace. Under the weak excuse of making up for humiliations it suffered historically, China decided in the last few years to ride over weaker. The Chinese government has shrewdly moved to ensure getting control of countries which are weak, with the aim of enriching and empowering none other than China alone. They are not concerned about the development of the countries they invest in. All they care about is their investments and control of that country. Machiavellian and devious moves, which will help them get an upper hand in the large game of geopolitics. Recently, China has bluntly threatened Bangladesh, saying that bilateral ties would be substantially damaged if Bangladesh engaged with the four-country grouping. Bangladesh's Foreign Minister, Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen, described the Chinese envoy's comment as very unfortunate and aggressive. The Foreign Minister said, "We are an independent and sovereign state. We decide our foreign policy." The US, in response to the warning statement of China, said, "The US has an incredibly strong relationship with Bangladesh, and it respects Bangladesh's right to make foreign policy decisions for itself." Bangladesh has already made it clear that it is against joining Quad, but it is keen on being part of the Indo-Pacific construct to strengthen its economy and connectivity. China may be against Bangladesh joining the quadrilateral security dialogue, but none of the countries that are part of the grouping have invited Dhaka to join it so far. While New Delhi has always been keen to embrace Dhaka under the Indo-Pacific strategic construct, but until date not invited Bangladesh, not even informally, to join the Quad. The Quad countries have themselves made it clear many times that they are not keen on expanding the grouping yet. The reference to Quad and the undiplomatic manner in which Bangladesh was warned indicate Beijing's deep annoyance with a grouping that intends to curtail its influence in the Indo-Pacific and areas that China considers its zone of influence. Why China so interested in Bangladesh? Because Bangladesh is a strategic factor on China's geopolitical agenda. In the recent past, China has its eye on Bangladesh and is investing a lot of money in it. As a result, a strong economic and military partnership is being developed between them. It may be possible that China, in near future, will be building a military base there and surround India's northeast region. Northeast region will the next big target of China after Galwan clash. This is the reason why China is wooing Bangladesh, but at the cost of India. Strategically, Bangladesh is very important for India, as India is connected with northeast states of India by a very narrow corridor, that is, the Siliguri corridor, which is strategically important and highly sensitive territory, as it remains the only bridge between the 8 northeastern states of India and the rest of the country. This narrow passage makes defense a serious challenge. Wedged between Bangladesh to the south and the west, and China to the north, the Siliguri corridor also links India to neighboring Nepal, Bangladesh and Bhutan. By an advance of just 130 kilometers, the Chinese military could cut off Bhutan, West Bengal, and the northeastern states of India. About 50 million people in northeast India would be separated from the country. China, which already claims 90,000 square kilometers of territory in India's northeast, has been a perennial threat to the Siliguri corridor. The Chinese presence in Arunachal Pradesh certainly stirs the anxiety of India's defense establishment. India's ruling party member of parliament from Arunachal East constituency, Taper Gao, has warned that China's PLA has been patrolling inside Arunachal Pradesh, posing a grave threat to India's security. The Chinese are still active along the international border, and the government of India should be ready for any kind of eventualities, not only in Arunachal Pradesh, but even in Sikkim, Himachal Pradesh, and Uttarakhand. With China continuing road and airstrip construction activities on its side of the border, the threat to the chicken's neck is a constant one, as the infrastructure could allow China to mobilize rapidly in the region. So, if in future Bangladesh starts getting over-friendly with China instead of India and permit China to build military base in Bangladesh, then it would pose huge challenges to India. In South Asia, Bangladesh is the second biggest receiver of Chinese investment behind Pakistan. But not everyone seems optimistic about the development and investment, with many warning that the growing reliance on Chinese money will make Dhaka beholden to Beijing. It is in this context that the Chinese move to woo Bangladesh, traditionally seen as a strong Indian ally in the subcontinent through massive investments, will be of concern to India. China's economic ventures in Bangladesh. China has an eye on the natural gas reserves that Bangladesh has to offer. Beijing is always on the lookout for better and more accessible sources of energy. Its constant packages of development aid and project loans ensure that it remains in the good books of the investment-hungry Bangladesh. And Dhaka has provided Beijing with most welcome rewards, such as exploration rights at the coal mines, as well as naval access to Chittagong port, which is critical to Beijing's overall grand strategy with regard to the Indian Ocean. These are concerns, as well as challenges, that India need to be met. India has multi-pronged ties, rooted in culture and history, with most countries in South Asia, especially with Bangladesh, so India should build on this historical foundation to capitalize on its own strategic and economic ventures in Bangladesh. Earlier, Sheikh Hasina said, Bangladesh wants to balance its relation with China and India both. The Prime Minister said that relations with India are organic while with China are economic. But it's time for a more balanced view of Bangladesh. While there remain important questions about Chinese trade, investment, and influence, the harshest criticism ignores the ability of Bangladesh to act in its own self-interest. A different reading of China-Bangladesh relations suggests that Bangladesh took a calculated risk to fuel its next phase of growth. And that reading deserves more attention. To Bangladesh, if successful, may offer developing countries a model for responsible engagement with China. India considers Chinese strategic influence in South Asia as a security threat, but Bangladesh finds China as an economic opportunity. But observers find all Chinese actions as a threat, and Bangladesh stuck in a state of victimhood. China is the greatest global threat. China is the greatest global threat to democracy and freedom since the end of World War II. There are lists of bad things that China's leaders are doing in the world. For instance, in the South China Sea, they claim the whole sea. China has been arrogant enough to claim the sea area and islands close to Japan or Vietnam. They have built man-made islands in the South China Sea, with the express intent of carrying out operations for war, which goes to prove their militaristic bent, as they have grown richer over the years. Then, to the east, they have opened up fronts with India, constantly poking and insulting, to test Indian patience against their incursions. Close to home, China constantly pushes the envelope to claim Taiwan as a part of China. Within the country itself, the Chinese are carrying out what is undoubtedly the largest ethnic cleansing program in the history of the world, as they subjugate and wipe out the people of Xinjiang. Further, out from China's shores and borders, they have invested in countries around the world, with the promise of economic windfalls, for which a number of desperate countries have fallen. Then, the Project Coronavirus. Global economic policymakers scramble as coronavirus threatens growth. China has risen like an insecure nation. They are after power, not character or dignity, and most importantly, they are after occupation and ownership. In effect, humiliating small countries, doing the very wrong thing, and it accuses other countries of having inflicted on it. Now it is time that all the countries must unite to tell the leaders of China to end this nasty geopolitics. Now, it is more critical than any other stage in history to recognize that China is pushing the world to the brink of World War III. If not immediately, in the form of actual war, but definitely in the form of misery for billions of people around the world. They have to be stopped in their tracks, and they have to be stopped now, before it's too late.